Hey guys, today we're going to be focusing on the difference between central idea and theme, or main idea and theme. You may remember that last week I talked about the fact that main idea, central idea, and objective summary are pretty much all the same things. Okay, so this screencast is going to lead you through a PowerPoint. And you'll probably need to pause the screencast from time to time so that you can take notes. What you're going to write down is everything you see in orange. So you're going to start these notes by writing at the top of a clean sheet of paper the difference between theme and main idea. Don't write this part down here, because it's not in orange, but these are instructions. As you view this PowerPoint, write down the parts in orange. These are your notes, and you'll be responsible for the information in the notes on quizzes and activities coming up in the future. All right, so at this point you should have written this on your paper, this part right here that I'm circling, the difference between theme and main idea. Remember that you'll need to pause from time to time to write. All right, so we want to talk first about what main idea is. What is main idea? Generally, we talk about main idea when we read nonfiction, and a good way to determine main idea is just to ask yourself, where, who, or what is this about? And then what is being said about the person, thing, or idea. Main idea. Main idea is factual. It's just what the author said. All right, so I'm going to click to move on. You'll probably need to pause so that you can finish writing down the parts in orange on the screen, which is pretty much the whole screen. Hit pause if you need to finish writing the screen. All right, so moving on. How is a main idea developed in a text? How is a main idea developed in a text? Main ideas are often directly stated. Most of the time a main idea is directly stated. The author comes right out and says it. Like in that article we read about gamers, the author came right out and said why gamers play games. She said, gamers play games because games are more interesting than the real world. They're more exciting than the real world. Usually authors directly state a main idea in a nonfiction text. But sometimes the author does not directly state a main idea, and you have to gather it. In other words, you have to look at all the information in the text and figure out what the main idea is. These are some things that you should look at. Go ahead and write those down. Hit pause if you need to. I'm going to move on to the next screen. All right, so how do we talk about main ideas? How do you write about them? How will you see them written on the EOC? Main ideas are stated either as a phrase or as a sentence. So these could be main ideas in a non-fiction text. The life of Thomas Jefferson, the price of gas, Hawaii. If somebody asked me what the main idea was for that article we read about gaming, I might just say why games are more interesting than real life. But main ideas can also be stated as complete sentences. So that same text about Thomas Jefferson might be stated as, Thomas Jefferson is considered one of America's founding fathers. Just depends on what the text says. All right, so you need to go back a little bit and pause if you still need to write down any of the information so far. And now we're going to focus on theme. So what we just talked about was a review of main idea, central idea, objective summary. Now we're going to talk about how theme is different, because theme is not the same thing as a central idea. Go ahead and hit pause if you need to write things down. I'll move on. So generally we talk about theme when we read fiction. We usually apply central idea or main idea to nonfiction, and generally we talk about theme when we read fiction. I'm sure you know this, but just a quick review. Nonfiction means true information, factual information. Fiction means made up. It's not a true story. All right, so when we talk about theme, we're usually talking about fiction, and a theme is a life lesson or a message that the writer wants to get across. Hit pause if you need to write anything else down. To find a theme or to figure out what a theme is, we just ask ourselves, what lesson does the writer think readers should learn? What lesson is the author trying to teach, or what is the moral of the story? Now, themes are ideas that anybody can apply to life. When you talk about theme, you shouldn't be focused on anything specifically in that story. You don't talk about the story, you don't summarize the story. When you talk about theme, you're talking about an idea that anybody could apply to life. So hit pause if you need to get some things written down while I move on. Themes should always be stated as a sentence. Central ideas can be conveyed as a phrase or a sentence, but themes should always be stated as a sentence because a theme should be a complete idea. This could be a theme. It's difficult to hate people once you really know them. Sometimes an act of kindness can change a life. Asking for forgiveness can turn a relationship around. Notice how all of these sentences, all of these statements of theme, focus on big ideas that anybody could apply to his or her life. None of them talk about a particular story. Here are some other examples of themes. You don't have to write any of these down, but just take a look at them. And that's it for our PowerPoint today. If you missed anything, go back in the screencast to the screen that you need and get those orange notes written down. When you're finished with those notes, go back to the theme module in Canvas and go on to the next activity in the theme module underneath the central idea versus theme PowerPoint. You'll see a video to watch about theme. So when you're finished with these notes, go back into the theme versus central idea module and go to the next activity and watch that video. Nothing to write down on that video, just watch and listen. Talk to you soon.